So thank you so much for joining us. We are honored to have Michelle Isenhart join us from the PMO office, specifically to talk about the NSA Codebreaker. I'm aware that Jake is unable to make it, Jake Mihevc. Dan, I don't think Dan Manson is here. Um, but I will hand it over to you. I just pointed them all to the website, and I don't know if you want to share anything else. I'll share again the link to the website in the chat area, and you can take it from here. Let me know if you need me to stop sharing.
Great, thank you, Yair.
And we just lost you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We lost your video. And we lost your audio too.
Can you hear me, Yair?
Yes, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, it kicked me out. Sorry about that. Okay, so I seen your screen was shared that showed the Codebreaker homepage. So the folks on the call, these are not students. These are all university, college, professors, faculty, correct? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you'd probably be very surprised, hopefully in a good way. But we have gotten some survey results before as part of the annual report of what competitions different school students are participating in. And one of them that we have noticed that the results are not always very clear is in Codebreaker. Because this is something that is an individual challenge. And I really want to highlight that because that sometimes is a bit confusing. Codebreaker is an NSA challenge. It is put on every fall. In just a moment, I will ask Yair to click on the leaderboard tab because that's where I was going with what I was saying a moment ago. Is that this challenge is run every fall. As you can see here on the page that's shown, this year's challenge, the 2024 challenge, will actually run until January 17th of 25. This is an individual challenge. Somewhat a bit of where the confusion comes is, Yair, if you can click on that leaderboard tab and scroll down just a bit, you'll see here that it's not listed by student, it's listed by school. So when students register for Codebreaker Challenge, it's free for students to participate. Everything is done virtually, so there's no cost or anything. Definitely a great challenge to get the students interested in. I'm going to give you lots of reasons why it's good in just a moment. But one of the areas that I really want to highlight here and kind of clear up is that when students register for Codebreaker Challenge, we don't reach out to the faculty to say, hey, just to let you know, we have students participating from your school. And the points that the students earn are actually going to the school. So you're looking at a live leaderboard here. You can see that for this year's challenge, there's actually 7 tasks that the students will complete. Obviously, they can get pretty difficult. To give you some metrics, usually we have over 5,000 participants in Codebreaker every year from more than 400 schools are always participating. And we usually, that top 1% is who actually solves the challenge. So task 7, we would call them a solver. Believe it or not, this challenge is geared at the college level to pay and even high school solvers. So pretty unique challenge. It is a reverse engineering cryptanalysis cybersecurity challenge. And some really unique things that I think about the challenge. I mentioned here that points are earned for the school. I always highlight to the students when I'm talking about Codebreaker that there's no fear here if they don't do well in the challenge. It's not shown on the webpage here who, what students from each school are participating. So if they don't make it far in the challenge, it's okay. If they just want to join the challenge, either to showcase skills because they already have them, that's wonderful. But if they also are just trying to learn some skills, they can get them in the challenge. They can really poke around without fear, judgment, or us even contacting the school. The only time that the students will hear from NSA is if they do very well in the challenge. So if they complete task 5, we would call them all the tasks up to task 5 and including task 5, we would call them a high performer. And then if they complete all of the tasks through task 7, they would be a solver. So if they make it to either of those thresholds, obviously they've really demonstrated technical expertise. We really want to highlight careers at the agency. So if the student shares that they are interested in opportunities, then we will offer that internally to our hiring managers to let them know they might be interested in careers. It is not a direct, if you do well in the challenge, you're automatically given a job, but it certainly helps you. And definitely encourage your students that they don't have to be a high performer or a solver for this challenge to matter. This is a wonderful experience for the student. Give them just a taste of what work might be like. And like I said, they can really learn skills too. When they register on the main page for Codebreaker, they are given an invite if they would like to join the Codebreaker Discord. The Codebreaker Discord is where there will be a series of tech talks offered to them. And these are not just flat briefings. These are demos as well, and really show the students how to do things. So if they're interested in Ghidra, the reverse engineering tool, they can hear about it, see a demo there. They will get those invites there. We've also had, each year we have a Codebreaker lead developer. And so the lead developer will go through each of the tasks. They're not giving out answers, certainly, or showing them how to solve anything, but just talking about the challenge and each of the tasks. So the invite will be there as well. We've had some briefings on just opportunities. We've even had briefings from folks from our foreign language office that do language analysis to talk about what that cross-discipline might look like between somebody who has a foreign language background as well as cyber skills. So just even some unique briefings the students might be invited to. So the challenge runs until January 17th. And the students will win awards if they, as an individual, do well, if they make it to that task 5 or task 7. And then the schools that are on the list here will earn some items as well. So obviously here we have Georgia Tech is leading in first right now. They have won the challenge the last few years. Before that was University of North Georgia was a winner in the challenge. We even had Oregon State was a winner more recently as well. But obviously the points are weighted more heavy as you complete the challenge. So even if a school doesn't have a lot of participants, if they just have one student that completes the challenge fully, it really puts the school on the map. So the top 20 schools on the list, right now it's just showing you top 10, but if you get to top 20, each year, those top 20 schools, NSA will mail out a president letter notification from NSA to say we're recognizing that the school has made it on the top 20 list and why this is a huge achievement. And I always tell the students the only time that we share their performance in the challenge is if they are a solver in the challenge. This is where we will recognize that email address. Even if the student told us my name is whatever, we do not share that. We will say this particular email address is one of the students that solved the challenge. And it would be up to the school if they wanted to reach out to them internally. But even if there were other students that participated and did well, but they weren't solvers, or students that participated but didn't get very far, we don't share any of that information. Even if the school makes it to the top 20 list and they did not have any solvers, we still send that university president notification out because it's important. It shows that obviously they've had multiple students participating that have done pretty well in the challenge. The top performing school, so in this case, right now, Georgia Tech is leading. Things change all the time. So really, really encourage your students to participate in Codebreaker. But the top performing school, and I wish I had it with me to show you, but we have a trophy that gets engraved and passed around year to year for Codebreaker Challenge. We do an in-person celebration at the school. And there's also a trophy that the school gets to keep. So just a little bit smaller replica of the bigger one that gets passed around, but the schools get to keep that trophy. From a student perspective, they might say, well, that's great, but what happens? What do I get? What does the student get? Obviously, they did a lot of work here. So regardless of whether the school makes it to the top 20 list or whether they are the top performing school or not, and I do have these to show, so hopefully it comes across well on the screen. Hopefully you can see this. Let me see if I can put it right there. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know why this background is not being, there we go. So we have an NSA fidget spinner here that is it is mailed to the students. Again, the only thing we know about them is their school email address, because that's how they register for the challenge. If they do well in the challenge, then we reach out to the student and say, congratulations. If you are interested in careers, let us know. If not, that's okay too. If you would like awards mailed to you, please give us your contact info, your mailing address, name, etc. If they complete task 5 for this year's challenge, they will get a letter mailed to them for a job well done, and they will get the NSA fidget spinner. What else? They for the solvers, those that complete task 7, hopefully you can see this box that's coming through here. If not, I'll see if I can turn off this filter. But we also have the Codebreaker, it's a medallion, and it comes in this very nice wooden box that we mail out. And so the solvers get the wooden box, the medallion, they get the fidget spinner. And really, I think the best prize of all is they get a personally signed letter from our NSA director, really recognizing them on their job well done. And like I said, that's completely separate from what school does on the leaderboard. That is, if you solve the challenge, you get those prizes mailed to you. So probably a couple other quick things to mention about Codebreaker is that in case you're asking or wondering, students are not the only ones eligible to play along. So you as faculty, we encourage you to participate. I see a question here. Can community college participate too? 100%. Yes. Anybody from a US-based academic institution can participate. That includes faculty. I will tell you, when you register for the challenge, it will ask you what your role is. Are you faculty? Are you student? Students are the only ones that earn points for prizes and points to get the school on the leaderboard. But faculty should poke around in there, get familiar with the challenge, maybe even test your skills. And we've had actually some schools get very creative, I think, because they recognize this is a wonderful challenge for their students to participate in. So they've obviously, a lot of them offer extra credit, and some are getting very creative. I don't know about currently, but in former years, we've had some schools where they're kind of including it as part of curriculum to make sure students are following along. And in case you're curious, because again, it is an individual challenge, and we don't want instructors to teach the challenge. We don't want that. Is that in the past there's been some questions of how far can I go into it? And the guidance that's been given in the past is that you can teach the concepts, but don't teach the challenge. They don't, if you play along in the challenge and you know how to do it, it is an individual challenge. So we want the students to do that. And again, any student can participate. You do not have to be a U.S. citizen to participate in this challenge. We will mail you awards either way. That is fine. It just has to be a U.S.-based academic institution. And the students will register with their school email address. And that's all we know about them until they do well in the challenge and they're asked if they would either be interested in careers or awards. Let me see if there were other questions. How can the schools use the points that are earned? So hopefully, as I was talking, that maybe that cleared that up a little bit. So the points that are earned is how the schools are moving up the leaderboard. So as the students, as you have more participants or you have more students that do well in the challenge, more points are being earned for your school. And of course, the schools that make it on that top 20 list are going to get that university president letter mailed to them, and the school that is the overall high performing school will be the one to get the trophy and the in-person celebration. I hope that answered that question. I'm happy to answer other questions if you have them. And I am sorry that that I was late joining. I had a different date.
Any other questions? Thank you so far, Michelle. It's been wonderful. So,
and if you have other questions, definitely, you can certainly reach out to me. But we have a whole team that works on Codebreaker that is an academic engagement as far as the management of the challenge, and then also from a development standpoint. And Year has it on the screen right there, just how you register. And that is the URL to get there. I'm happy to send to you, Yair, if you want to
sure.
distribute, but I have the Codebreaker flyer that you can send to everybody as well too. That
Sure,
you all can share with your students.
Yeah, we can post it on the initiative page. Just a question. So the students will go directly to register on this through this register here. And
Yes.
how long or how many hours would you estimate that a student should dedicate to each of the 7 tasks or the whole thing?
So that is a really good question. I'm glad you brought that up. And unfortunately, there's not a good answer for it because, and I can speak from experience where I've seen just how fast, whether it's skills or just the time that someone has spent. We've had people that as soon as the challenge opens, they solve it within a week. And then we've had people that in the last moment solve it. And then we've had people that have gone the entire challenge and have only made it, a task or two. And so I think a lot of it is really going to depend on interest from the student, skills from the student, and then how much time they want to dedicate to it. And because they can participate in the challenge throughout school, that they might find that this year, if they do the challenge and they're early in their studies, might be a little bit more difficult than next year or future year once they've had a few more courses completed, or maybe the topic, because the topic changes each year, and so maybe it's a topic that's of more interest or something that they're just more skilled at. But you'll see that's why there's so much time in the challenge. It's not a weekend type of challenge or something where we force the students to dedicate full time to this. This is something they can do at their leisure that should not affect their studies. This is really, it's a challenge for fun, but it's really, really a unique way to get them highlighted at NSA for careers if they are interested. Certainly something I even tell students when I'm talking to them, even if they don't want to work at NSA, that is okay too. People are taking note of Codebreaker, and really the students that do well in the challenge and are familiar with it, I always tell the students, put it on your resume that you are in this case, 2024 Codebreaker Challenge participant. If you make it to that high performer or solver status, make sure that's noted on there too. Because like I said, it is really such an achievement, and they should put that on their resume.
Thank you. This is wonderful. And I want to remind everyone we're all CAEs here. And so part of the requirements for competencies that are coming up is to get our students engaged in competitions, of course. And that's a wonderful opportunity that, you know, everyone always complain, well, all those platforms cost money. Well, this doesn't cost you anything besides promoting it to your students. So please feel free to share this with your students. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Michelle.
You're
Yes.
very welcome.
Any additional questions? Any other questions to Michelle? If not, then thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. It was well worth the wait for you to come in. I'm going to be following up with an email to everyone regarding a survey on that. If you can send me the flyer, I'll promote that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yair.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone. Take care.